Hey everybody, what's going on? Tim here at Doc's Autos, and we are back. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button below. Like the video, share it with your friends on social media. It tells YouTube we've got good content over here. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back for more punishment. We appreciate your patronage. By the way, we also have a Patreon account. Check that out too. Also, by watching the video all the way through, it puts our content out in front of more people on YouTube searches. So please, even if we're boring, watch it all the way through, put it in the background of the window, something, just so we get that airtime. Today we're working on the 98 Mustang, the old SN95. Yeah, that's it. And we are going to be replacing the shocks and struts. We've got a whole pile of parts back here. Convertible top for another video, and struts and shocks for this video. So as long as we're up here in the nice air-conditioned shop where it's not 92 degrees, hopefully we'll be able to get this done with a little less colorful vocabulary and a sweaty Tim. So let's go ahead and get this thing jacked up, get the tires off, and that time we're also going to take a look at the rest of the front suspension. Kind of the reason I want to go ahead and replace all these things is driving it around, you've got some pretty good clunks and thuds when you hit bumps, basically things where you would normally expect to feel the springs and struts and such soak up some of the bumps. You're hearing more of a hard hit in both the car itself and in your back. So we're also going to take a look at the steering, all the stuff up front, the little bushings, grommets, all that good stuff, because I noticed there's a little bit of a little click on the right-hand turn. Yeah, right-hand turn. So let's take a look at all the stuff up front. I did look at it last fall when we got the vehicle, and at a quick glance, everything seemed to be okay, but now I'll take the wheels off and give it a little better in-depth look. Check the brakes, all that good stuff. Those seem to work just as you would expect them to work, so I wouldn't expect to see anything wrong there. But let's quit yapping and get this car up on jacks. Alrighty, well, we've got the rear end jacked up here. Got our good old non-defective jack stands. Got our back tires off, and you can look in here. Yeah, they're a little crusty, a little dirty, but they're not worn, they're not grooved or pitted, so we're not going to be replacing those. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my ammo and clean out the inside of these wheels before I put it back together and get those all cleaned up. Now, first thing we've got to do is unfortunately take out all of this good stuff in the trunk, all of our trunk liners. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on both sides. And behind here is where you're going to find your mount for your shock on the top. And then down here in the bottom, pretty simple, plain as day, right there. Now look at this. Minnesota car since 1998. There's no rust, there's no crusties. It's beautiful. Why? Because it sleeps during the winter and sits in a garage. That's pretty awesome. I mean, most I see here is a little bit of surface crustaceans from just life. Anything else that runs around year round up here, you're going to have rusted and crusted stuff breaking off, wonderful new vocabulary made up. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get these panels out of the inside of the trunk. We'll be able to get to our nuts for our shocks. And I can figure out where all of my tools are because most of them are down in the shop, which requires me going outside there where it's warm. So who knows? Alrighty folks, we are back, and time has lapsed. I have changed shirts, a little cooler, and it's more of my let's get this done t-shirt versus talk. Got our hat on, nice Sunday going to town hat, I guess. I'm still wearing somewhat good stuff. Thank you, super clean. Anyways, we have taken the inner panels off the trunk here. Let's get my makeshift lighting. And both sides, there's two side panels here. There is a panel here that goes over the back of the back deck. And then there is a panel inside the rear deck itself. So we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces over here. And for the next project, I'm going to leave this out anyways because we're going to be tackling that convertible top. So we have, you can see here, two, one on each side, nuts that we take off, and you're going to want to put a, go ahead and put a vice grip or something around the top here. There's a notch on here so you can hold it tight while you loosen that nut, and then that's going to cause the spring to drop down. And looking underneath here, like I said before, we have just a very simple nut and bolt right there. That should come out. We are reusing that. There was not a new one in our KYB kit. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and work on getting this loosened up here and see how much of a pain that should be. Shouldn't be too bad because, again, we're not dealing with rusted stuff. Just have to deal with getting that shock, that stud not to spin. So let me go find something for that. So many of my tools are still down in the shop, and I'm just going to see if I can get it going with this here and my good old Leatherman. Yep, there we go. Just to knock it loose. One on the passenger side here. And the same thing on the driver's side. We actually have a legit vice grip. Check that out. I can get it on the right direction. All right, let's wander down to the underneath the car here and see if we have any better luck. I think my battery's going out on me here. There we go. Kind of. There we go. Now we're going to want to tap this through to the other side. Got our trusty Deadpool hammer. Out it comes. There we go. Shock should drop right out. Maybe. Oh! Like I said, shock should drop right out and ram right into the GoPro. But hey, it's out. Oh, here is our old one. Goes in really easily and comes out pretty slowly. That's happy to see you. There we go. Let's go look at the new one. All right, new one here is our KYB. Just a standard daily driver. Do not go for any of the performance goodies on these. It's, you know, it's a V6. Not going to be doing a marathon with it, so this should probably be just fine. Now the nice thing you'll notice instantly, bushing on here, dry and cracked. This one is not. Nice new bushing. So this is going to help a bit because with these dry and cracked bushings, it's going to eat up some of the shock absorption and give you that rougher ride because just the ability to eat up the road and the bumps is not there anymore since it's dried and cracked. So let's go ahead and slide this thing back in. Notice we've got a little plastic thingy on here. Gonna go ahead and take him off. Now, watch this. I'm going to set this up here somewhere. All right, let's go on top of the amp here. So, not going to see their full stroke. Maybe. Let's do this. There we go. Go ahead and collapse these guys. Oh, just see them both pop back up. Come on, there we go. So you'll see the old one is a lot slower to respond than this new one. So that means this one's going to eat up the bumps a lot better because, well, it can react much quicker. Got our hardware kit over here, which consists of a couple of, oh, you can't see those. There you go, look. Rubbery things. Put this together just like the old one was. We've got a little bottom thing on here. We've got our new rubber grommet. There we go. Then once back in the car, we have, this goes over the top, and then our new cap, and then our nut with a nylock washer on it. So we're gonna go ahead and get this back over to the car and get it in. He's up in his hole where he should be. We'll go and collapse our shock. Ow. Into the hole. Give it a little wiggle. There we go. Back in, and there we go. Easy as that. I'm going to grab a little blue thread lock. There we go. A little dollop of blue thread lock on here. There's the Ugga Dugga. And there we go. Easy as pie down here. Now we're back in the car. And very similar. We've got our rubber, our cap, our rubber, our cap, and our nut that we've got to get seated on there. But since we really don't have much travel in the suspension right now, it's tough to get this nut on. So I'm going to grab another jack and press up from the bottom to get this thing seated where it should be. Okay, I fibbed. I actually just grabbed onto the shock underneath and wiggled it, and it popped up enough for me to get the nut on. Alrighty, well, I don't have an open end that big. It's probably a 20. But the top is under here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cheat a little bit and get a few threads started just so I can get the car off the jack stands, close the convertible top, and then I'll wrench these down where they should be. So make sure I don't forget to do that, okay? You can see I've got it on a couple turns just by hand here, so I don't have any fear of driving it or taking it off the jacks like this, because after all, the stud for the shock is through the hole. It is mounted, tight on the bottom, and screwed in a few turns here. So we're set. So we're going to go ahead and get the driver's side taken care of, get it off the jack stands, and look at putting up the convertible top so we can get those back ones tightened up before we forget about it. Hey gang, welcome back. Next day. Again, excuse the background noise. It is about 95 degrees outside, but thanks to this little air conditioner back there, hiding right there, it's about 76 degrees in the garage. Now, that's not so bad considering normally it's close to 90 in here and humid. So, I'm going to take a little background noise for comfort. We are back looking at the front end of the Mustang here for the struts. And yay, I'm a little relieved that I'm not having to deal with any of these wonderful struts and spring combinations that fly across your garage or hit you in the face. So happy about that. As long as I'm in here, I want to look at some of these front end components. And this here looks pretty good. Looks like it's actually been replaced. You can tell there's some nicer bluer bushings in there that don't seem to match the factory crusty ones here from Ford. And if you look, again, excuse my poor lighting, this does look dry and cracked. It could certainly use to be replaced. So, you know, I guess it's still sort of soft and squishy, but that could certainly be on the list for replacement. My tie rod ends here, those look pretty good. They're not broken or squeezed out or anything. And again, we're just going to start with the shocks and see what that does for us. So again, we've got a couple of nuts and bolts here to take off. And then we have one up here that goes up under the hood. So we're going to go ahead and get those things loosened up and take off this driver's side one here. And not really expecting anything big to go wrong. So, you know, I'm just going to jinx myself and find some wood to knock on, but oh well. Let's go ahead and just get to it. All right, gang, what's going on? So, did a little work off camera and went and actually took off the first strut on the driver's side here. Wasn't a big deal. Of course, we got this top nut off here really easily. But the bottom one, 2 bolts. Basically, I hit them with some PB Blast, let it sit overnight, and came back, hit it a bunch with the impact, and then laid on it with my good old wrench from the O'Reilly store I picked up on a daycare run. So I got that off, challenging enough as it is with the caliper on here. I could have taken that off, but I'm not that smart. So anyways, we do have this first strut off, and so we're going to take a look at it over here on the workbench. So here it is. Again, you can see it comes back up kind of quick, but man, it sure goes in easy. So we're gonna go ahead and pull off this top piece here. This one-handed, maybe. Hold on, watch this. Magic. There we go. Didn't make that big of a mess. Anyways, this has got to come off too and go on the new strut, which is, I just had it. Oh yeah, over here. Under my mess. Seriously, I had this workbench clean 3 days ago, and now it's a mess. So anyways, got to take this rubbery thing here off of up here, put it on here. This goes on, and then back in the vehicle it goes. So let's get to that. Alrighty. So I should just pull right off of here. There we go. We don't need him anymore. I could put on gloves, but again, I'm not that smart. Alright. I'm going to spring this guy. Oh, there we go. Yep, he's got a little more response to him, and certainly a little harder to compress than the other one was. Go ahead and get our boot on here. That was the right direction, right? Yeah, that was the right way. And this guy goes on here. And then you're ready to go back on the car. Alrighty, we've got our new strut here. Just fit it in where it goes. Start with one of the bolts. Get it to feed through. There we go. One in. Spin the nut on loose. I'm going to throw some Loctite back on there. So now we're going to make sure this lines up with the hole, and it does. Get one of our big rubber grommet things. It goes on top. I'll show you in a sec. But we'll go get this other bolt through. Yeah, it's much easier. Now, move my lighting. All right, if we look down here, we can see, I was saying those two nuts and bolts. We'll hit those with Loctite. And then up on top, here's this large thingamajiggy. Go this way. There we go. Which way do you go in there? I'll look at the other side, because it all kind of fell out and sprung on me. But this goes on. We've got our top nut. So I'll have to work this up a little bit to get it compressed so I can get my new nut on there. But for now, let's go ahead and get the bottom part tightened up and then work on the top. All right, Loctite's in there. We've got our impact ready to go. All right, we'll hit our impact on the bottom. See if I can move it with my wrench here a little bit. Probably too big to fit in here. All right, wrap up, tightening these up here by hand. I'm gonna find the torque specs on these. Make sure they're torqued up. Then I'll move up here to the top. Alrighty, well, our torque specs here says 141 to 190, and my wrench goes to 150. So let's see where we're at. A little more. Not break my... Oh man, I got my stuff in the way. Still going. There we go. Look at that. Already there. Like I said, I hit him with the torque spec. You thought I was going to skip out on that, didn't you? So, again, 150 pounds on the torque wrench plus some blue Loctite. I don't think those are going anywhere. So we'll put the wheel back on and go look at the top side. I have this guy. No, you can see there's a little ring in here which matches up with the wear mark on here. So he goes in there. We get our cap, and then our new nylock goes up here. You can see we're spinning the head, so go ahead and fix that. All right, we got our handy dandy 15/16 and oops, screwdriver. So we pretty much spin it around till it bottoms out. But the other side is going to be just the same, just more work. So I don't think I need to bring you along for that, because really you've seen everything on the driver's side. You saw everything on the back end for the rear shocks, and that's all we're doing here. Again, I had to go out and buy a $7 tool, but everything else, standard stuff most folks have in their garage. So now some folks might have a maintenance log or something for their vehicles. I've got just a notepad document on my garage computer behind me here, over here somewhere, yeah, with all the cars and all the maintenance on them, from oil changes to struts to whatever. like brakes, all the general stuff that if you go to sell the vehicle, you want to kind of have a log of what you've done, so the new buyer or anybody else has a clue of what's been done to the car. So I'll go ahead and add this. We're just over 120,000 miles. Still, you know, pretty good for this car. Not many miles, no rust, but I've got a whole thick stack of service records inside, and I did not see anything on there for shocks or struts. I think there was something in there for the sway bar end links. Those look pretty new, but otherwise I didn't see anything in there for shocks. So Terry, if you're watching and I missed that, let me know, and I redid work. Anyways, thank you for watching. Make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. We're also heading over on Facebook and Instagram. We've got content there before it ever shows up here on YouTube. And in our next segment for the Mustang, we're going to be working on replacing the convertible top. So be sure to catch that when we release that here shortly. Otherwise, again, thanks for watching, and just keep doing what you enjoy doing, and we'll see you all in the very next video. Take care. All right, you guys probably didn't think I was going to leave you hanging without a quick test drive, huh? Well, we're going to go out real quick. I know it's tough for you guys to follow along with me in the car, but maybe my opinion will garner some weight. Alrighty. We're on basic paved roads, and you know, I can tell a little bit of a difference. All the cracks in the road, they are not as apparent. They're a lot more subdued with the new shocks. Handling is pretty good. Don't feel any bounce in the steering. You can see we've got a pretty decent road, pretty smooth road in front of us here. So not a huge road test, but overall, you know, you definitely know there's still bumps in the road. You can see them and feel them, but they're much, like I said, much more subdued, a lot smoother, less of a bounce and a clunk. So I'm going to call this one a win. Alrighty. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.